ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Bold Explorer Live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. So lovely to be here yet again. It is Friday. It's a Friday, ladies and gentlemen. It's Friday the 20th of April 2018. I know that because I wrote it down on a piece of paper, so it must be true. It must be true. Actually, to be honest with you, it's felt like a Saturday all day. The sun has been shining. It's been absolutely wonderful. Yeah, the sun has been shining, ladies and gentlemen. The lovely Julia, who actually is not here beside me today. I know, it's sad, but she's packed me away. She said, Richard, you put this on your domed head. She said, make sure you put it on your big balding bonce. It's what she says. Last night when she went away, I took her home. Her parting words, ladies and gentlemen, not goodbye and thanks for the show, not it's been a great day and it's all wonderful, looking forward to working with you again. None of that nonsense. She just said, the sun's going to be out tomorrow. I said, yes. She said, put this on your bonce. So, Julia, just for you, there it is. It is now on my bonce. It's now off my bonce. It's back on my bonce. There we are. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's almost as if the summer is actually here. I mean, the temperatures, I don't know what they are with you, but I got into the car, it's about 25 degrees centigrade, or Celsius, or whatever it is. Is that 552 million Fahrenheit? I never quite know what the Fahrenheit is, because I've always worked in Celsius, but if ever I talk to anybody in America, they're always saying they're talking in Fahrenheit. But the weird thing about Fahrenheit... Oh, hang on. You see, my bonce is so slippery now that this sun cream, factor 50, ladies and gentlemen, factor 50, which I hope is still going to get my head nicely tan. Thank you, band. Thank you so much, band. That's the band. Oh, they're so lovely. You should see them walk out, though, because they have actually got bandy legs. They walk out with their legs sort of all bent and crooked, poor little chaps. But the thing is, they get onto little donkeys. They get onto their donkeys and they ride off into the horizon. Right into the horizon until they become a little silhouette. And you can picture that, can't you? You can see the band with their banjo and their drum kit and their big sombreros, which they wear, that lovely band, with their bandy legs, walking onto these donkeys and then trotting along on the horizon. I mean, it's a beautiful sight, especially when the sun is shining and there is a bit of a horizon in silhouette, ladies and gentlemen, in silhouette. And there they go. They trail off into the distance. And it's so pleasurable to see that, because you know that it will take them at least 24 hours to get all the way round the horizon. And then they come back here, and then they settle up their instruments all over again with their little ukuleles. Ding 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 ding. When I'm cleaning windows, turned out nice again, hasn't it? Time to beat the wife up. Ding ding ding. Yeah, because George Formby apparently was a bit of a wife beater, so they say. Anyway, I don't know why we got onto the band. Anyway, so yes, make sure you're out there with your sun factor, whatever it is, 50 degrees centigrade, and rub that over your bonce. Also onto your nose cone. Very important that you do get the old nose cone, because many people, as soon as the sun comes out, they leap down to the beach. They're there. They stripped off. They've not had a spot of sun on them. And what they don't do is protect themselves from the sun's rays by sticking on a little bit of greasy stuff. And so I thought, because the lights are powerful in the studio, I would do just that. There we go. Look at that. You see, it blends in perfectly. You once it's all in there, you wouldn't know, would you? You wouldn't know that I've got that factor 50 and the UV rays bounce away like this. Bing bong, bing bong. Avon calling, bing bong. Off it goes, and you just wouldn't know. Oh, golly, look at that. when I say you wouldn't know, obviously you've got to give it... There we are. Look at that. I've improved my facial features. My visage is greatly enhanced now, ladies and gentlemen. How enhanced is it? It's greatly enhanced. Thank you very much. So let's go into the jungle that we call the chat room and see who is watching live as I do the show. Who is actually watching at this very moment in time? It might be you, or it might be the other one. Let's see if there's actually anyone, because sometimes I never quite know if I'm actually broadcasting or not. So there we are. Let's have a look. Nikki Jess is there. Hello, Nikki. Jennifer Stewart is also there. We've Mark Selwood, of course. We've got Linda Kane. Hello, Linda Kane. We've got Judith Oakley. Hello, Judith. Lovely to see you. Alan Piddington and Kevin Hall, to name but a few of the many hundreds of thousands that will be tuning in over the next few days to see the poor old baldy, one-eyed, whatever he is, here in front of the camera on his own. Not me, I'm not here, says Julia. Oh, well, that's a shame. I wonder where you are then. Hannah Black. Hello, Hannah Black. Welcome. I haven't seen your name pop up before, so it's lovely to see you live. There's Nigel Sadler. We have Paul Hine, which is great. Maggie Walters. Hello, Maggie. Thanks for your email, by the way. Recent emails. It's always nice to get your emails. Dan Thompson is in the house. We should rattle something. What I need is, has anybody got one of those things that they used to do at the old... it looks like I'm opening up a car sunroof. I don't mean to cars. Martin Snow's joined. No, in the football grounds. I never went to football grounds. Never my cup of tea, to be honest with you. My cup of tea stays firmly in a ceramic mug. That's usually the best thing for a cup of tea. But they used to have these, whatever you call them, not car. I'm doing this too often. I ought to do it with. Oh, look at that! Look at that! This arm. You see this hand? The wrist action on my right hand is a lot more prolific and more practiced, I don't know quite why that should be, than the right hand, which is really struggling to do it. And now that I can see down below me the feedback photo, it's very worrying. So what if... Oh, there we go. If I do it with both... Oh, isn't that weird? If I do it with... But you try that at home, ladies and gentlemen. See which of your hands can actually... That's really bizarre, because if I try to do it with my left hand... I'm actually struggling, and yet if I do it both together, I can do as if I'm whisking eggs upside down. Although the eggs, of course, would have fallen out. Anyway, never mind. I don't know why we're doing that. I thought things are going... Clacker! That's it. Richard Suggett is on the case. Clacker. The old clacker. That's what we want. So when somebody new comes into the house we haven't seen before... I really should get some bells and some whistles and some cheers and some, and a clacker. That would be really nice. So there we go. What's he saying? You're going like a rabbit hole there, Rich. Yes, I'm always going into rabbit holes. Tony Wareham has arrived. Hello, Tony Wareham. Someone call him. Why? Why call him? Get your ankle out. Oh, thanks. Yes. Actually, it is good practice, by the way, to get your ankle and do the same thing to warm up the old ankle thing. He is oblivious. I'm not oblivious. I'm actually talking to you now. Terence Datcombe says we could run a sweepstake to guess how long it will take for the sun cream to dissolve. Well, what are you going to start at? $5 for an hour. How long will it dissolve? Oh, you mean what, in here and dribble down my face? Thanks very much. That's charming, that is. Cynthia Walder has come. Hello, Cynthia. Lovely to see you. Kevin Hall. Wonderful to see Kevin Hall. And Julia says, wipe your nose, vote. Oh, yes, it's very greasy, isn't it? Wait. Hang on a moment. It's very greasy. Oh, I've got a hanky. I've gone all glycery now. It's like I've got a hanky. This is one I blew my nose on earlier, ladies and gentlemen, but... Don't let that worry you. Don't look at me without my glasses. I suddenly look like a different person. I look like some incredibly handsome chap who suddenly walked into the studio. But sometimes my eye goes a bit crooked. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the live show. It's so lovely to be here. It's so wonderful to see all your your lovely faces, of course, staring into your monitors, your laptops, your phones, your gadgets, whatever. It's some of you staring into space, thinking, "Wonder what I've come to." If you're watching on YouTube, we do think about you a lot. Actually, I think about you people on YouTube a hell of a lot. I think I wish you were on Facebook, then you could be here live. And I realise that, of course, you can't. Some people just don't do Facebook, and I understand that, and I appreciate that. Anyway, so just to let you know that in the Facebook group, just, you know, to really upset those people who are watching on YouTube and don't do Facebook, we've got 595 members of the group. I was rather hoping that at the end of this week, and there's still time, that by Saturday, by tomorrow night, that we'll have 600 members. So if you're watching this and you're going, I don't know what you're talking about, what is this group thing? What are you on about, Mr. Flappy Mouth? What is it you're saying? Well, the Bald Explorer not only has a page on Facebook, not only a page, which of course you can like. It'd be very nice if you would have given me a like on the page, because every time you do a like on the page, a little elf is squashed beneath a multi-storey car park. So give me a nice like on the Bald Spot page. But we also, ladies and gentlemen, we also have a group. And the advantage of the group, for those that don't know, really have no idea what a group is. It's not a grope. It's not where we all get together and go, oh, hello, oh, nice, oh, I say. No, it's none of that nonsense. No, it's a group where we can post things to each other. We get the letters out, remember that? We get a quill pen and we, dear so-and-so, I really like your photographs that you have collected up over the years and posted into the group. And then you post your little letter and up it pops, and it's very nice. And people are doing it all the time, but it would be lovely to get up to 600 members. Wouldn't that be fantastic? That would be something. Certainly, you know, seeing as we've been running this now, I don't know how long we've been running the group, probably since December, isn't it? Something like that, just before the new year, sometime like that, I don't know. It's all been going well. Anyway, so if you haven't become a member, become a member. All you do is you just request to become a member, and somebody, one of the many exciting admin people, we've got hunky blokes and sexy girls who are part of the admin team, and they're the ones that will go, oh yes, I approve, absolutely approve of your application. You've got all the qualifications to be a Bald Explorer member. Like that, they stamp the thing and they're in. Anyway, I'm babbling because, ladies and gentlemen, I'm on my own tonight. The lovely Julia's not here and I don't have any guests. Now, it's funny you should say that because somebody said to me, get Richard Suggett back on the show. And Richard Suggett, I know you're out there. We want you back on the show soon, so we've got to fix up some dates. But also, ladies and gentlemen, I have got some news to tell you. Oh, yes, news. The great news is that Dump Man is coming. Yes, Dump Man. Now, some of you may be looking a little bit confused. Who the devil is Dump Man, they may say. Well, he's also known as, his birth name, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I just got to get the pug out of my eye. His birth name is Chris Bedford. He's a very nice bloke. And he is a bit of a Motorhead fan. You may have seen some of the videos that I've gone and done with him. Not for a while, actually, which is a sad thing. We've done some videos where we've looked at disused railways. He is a great advocate of disused railways. He likes nothing better, ladies and gentlemen, than to get on his chopper. He gets his chopper out and he mounts it and he's flying down the old disused railways, the railways where the rails have been taken away, but the routes are still there. And where they're not, he doesn't trespass and, you know, that sort of thing, but he'll weave his way down to get back onto those bits of the disused railway system in the UK that is there. And he's made a whole load of DVDs. You can buy the DVDs from him and you can sit abreast with him on his chopper, hurtling down the old railway as if like the railroads, and seeing what it is like now compared to how it was. Anyway, he goes under the pseudonym Dump Man. It comes from, I think, from when he was at school. He's such a lovely bloke. And he said to me, I want to come on the show, Richard. And I said, brilliant, marvellous, fantastic, transmentacooperistic, I said, which is a special word that I invented some years ago. Transmentacooperistic, you've got to come on the show. And so hopefully it's either next week, towards the end, when we're back from our Glastonbury trip, or on the 1st and 2nd of the Monday and Tuesday of the following week, if you see what I mean. Because the lovely Julia and I will be away at the beginning of next week, so that's going to be really exciting. Dump Man is coming. Claire Leach says she loves Dump Man. She has thrown her arms around him and given him a great big hug. Actually, I don't know if that's true. That may be made up. Nothing gets past you, Pam. People are saying things. Obviously, I'm trying to say, I thought you were talking about Motorhead, the group with Lemmy. I don't know who Lemmy is. I don't really know who Motorhead are, if I'm honest with you, because I'm a bit of an old-fashioned square. But don't let that worry you. Steve Pilfold, founder of the Disused Railways of Sussex group on Facebook, is Monsieur Labedford. Monsieur Labedford. He's not French, actually. That's just my interpretation of how I could address him when he turns up on the show. Dean Rhodes says, right, hello, Dean. How is it, mate? He says, hi, Claire. Timothy says something. Alex Whitlock says, railway bogies. Yes, the railways have plenty of bogies. That's because back in the days when the railways were first founded, there was a lot of nose pickers around. And they needed the little shingle. You know, all those shingle things that they lay down on the tracks when the railways go? They're... well, they're not really bogies, are they? But they look like bogies. No, bogies are the things that the carriages sit on with the big springs. You see the big springs and the wheels with the I always used to think, what's holding those wheels on? Because they only had one bit that would drop down. And, I used to... it doesn't matter. Sometimes I dig myself so deeply that I'm trying to get out of the hole that is made. Anyway, is it a map he's got in the post of a couple of weeks? What are you talking about? Oh, the map. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, Dave White. Dave White, who watches exclusively on YouTube. Hello, Dave. Thank you so much again for your lovely presents. He sent some books, and I've been sort of, nosying in the books. I haven't had time to sort of sit down and read properly, but I've been having a good nose, getting the old hooter into the books. And one of the things was the map. And I thought, well, we said we'd bung it on the wall, and I had about 3 minutes spare. And I thought, that's what I'll do. I'll shove it. And I shoved it up against the wall. I got some tape out, and I stuck it up there, and let's hope it stays there. The other one is over on the shelf there. It was a little small, too small to sit. I couldn't work out where to put it. Although I would like to have had a bit more colour, really. So, but that, as you can see, as it says there in the letters... is sus. Sus. I don't know if you can suss out what it means. Sus. It's part of sus sex. So in other words, somebody, somewhere else, you can buy the other half of the map that says sex on it. Dave, I wish you'd bought me that one, dear boy. That would have, it would have just set the tone of the show, wouldn't it? I've got sus here, S-U-S, and then presumably on another bit of map, it will say sex. Something that's completely lacking in this show, which is just a good thing at the moment. So there we go. Anyway, so that's the map, and it's very nice, and I'm very proud to put that up. I can't remember what the other map was now. It's over there somewhere. It's an orange map. It's a map of oranges. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, so thanks very much. It's definitely, but it looks ancient. Oh, it is ancient. It's the what's his name? Keith and it's the. Oh, I'll have to get it now. Here we go. I'll tell you what it is. It's a reprint of the ordnance, but the original ordnance survey. But no, it's not the one I thought it was actually. But it's a nice one. So there we are. It's a nice one. Thank you very much. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I've got all this grease all over me. I wish I didn't have to do that every day. I only put this stuff on at night time so that it avoids any kind of... Because the moon, it bounces the light off the moon and it comes through my window and it gets through the curtains and it crawls along the floor. It gets under the duvet where I'm hiding. Because obviously when I go to sleep, I'm very scared of the dark and scared of pillows, mainly. Scared of duvets. Because I remember watching a programme years ago called Duvet Mean Us, and I thought it was about duvets, but I don't think it was, actually. It was, who was that rough newspaper bloke who, do they mean us? They surely do. Funny bloke. Anyway, I think he's dead now. 595 members, ladies and gentlemen, of the group, which is fantastic. So what you're asking, what have you been up to, Vobes? What have you been up to today, and what's it all about? Well, I will tell you. Yes, what is it all about? I've been to Binstead woods today. I've been back to Binstead. I don't know if you remember, a little while ago, I went to Binstead Church. Binstead is near Arundel. It's just south of Arundel, south of the A27. It's a lovely little village, but it's a spread out village. It's a village, unlike villages that have a village green and all the houses around it, and it's all very, you know, chocolate box type of thing. This is more like a working village where the houses popped up where the farms were and the fields were there, the working fields, the shared fields and all of that sort of thing. It's a parish, really. And within that, there's the Binstead Woods, and these are ancient woods. And I went to see Emma Tristram, who is a resident there, and she wanted to take... She'd seen my other videos, and she said, you know what? I want to take you round. I want to take you round. I want to take you down Lovers Lane. Lovers Lane, ladies and gentlemen. So she said, I'm going to take you Lovers Lane down to Madonna's Pond. And I thought that was going to be really interesting because I've never met Madonna. I know, you know, she's a singer and she's famous, and she goes round doctoring children. No, not abducting children. She does something with children. I can't remember what it is. Adopting. There we go. She adopts children, which is lovely. You know, I don't know whether the children particularly like it because then they have to sit there and listen to her singing all her songs. But I think it may not be that Madonna that we're talking about. I think it may be the other one. That, you know, the one with dreadlocks and purple. No, not that one. The religious one. Anyway, no, I don't even think it's the Virgin Mary, isn't it? Anyway, one of them, I can't remember now. She did tell me. It just shows you how much I was paying attention. I was holding a camera and a microphone, ladies and gentlemen. And let me tell you, I did a stupid thing today, ladies and gentlemen. I did a very stupid thing. We did this walk. I'll show you some pictures in a minute. We did this walk, and I'll show you a bit of video as well, if you're patient. We did this walk, right, with our legs. We walked along, and we went round this lovely field, and we looked at this beautiful oak tree, and then we looked at some ash trees, and we looked at some willow trees, and we went down Lovers Lane, and we went through this wonderful forest. I'll show you the pictures in a minute. Just keep calm. And then we eventually got to this pond, which I now can't remember. I think it's Madonna's Pond, but I can't remember now if it was Madonna's Pond or the Queen Vic's Pond, or not Queen Vic, the Virgin... No, I think I'm pretty certain it was Madonna's Pond. Anyway, we got to the pond. I took a load of pictures. I had my camera on its gimbal, as I normally do, with my microphone in my hand. Then I had my camera, the stills camera, which I often take the stills pictures, which I add into it, round on my chest in its little bag. And then I put the gimbal in one pocket, the microphone in the other pocket. And as we wandered back to her house, because she was very kind and gave me some lunch, ladies and gentlemen, very nice lady. And her husband's nice, Michael is very nice too. And we were wandering back, we were chatting away, and I was taking these pictures, click, click, click. We got virtually to her gate. So we'd walked several miles, you know, and we got to her gate, and I said that was a fantastic walk, looking forward to getting that together. And I looked down at the pocket where I had my microphone, and it was empty. And I suddenly went, oh my God, ladies and gentlemen. I went, oh my, like that. Hang on, I'll see if I can recreate the moment. It was... oh my God. It was a bit like that. I may have had a bit more shock. May have been, oh my God. It may have been like that. I can't really say. But anyway, however it was, the meaning was clear. I looked down and I was galled struck because my microphone had gone. It wasn't there. It wasn't in my pocket. I thought, oh, what have I done with it? Where's it gone? It's vanished. And I thought, oh no. And of course then I realised, didn't I? I realised you're already 2 steps ahead. Yes. I had dropped it, ladies and gentlemen. So I said, oh, I'm going to have to go back. And poor old Emma looked at me. She thought, oh, Gould. She thought, oh, Gould. Yeah, she thought, oh, Gould, I haven't got to accompany him, have I? And I said, no, don't worry about that. I'll run back and see if I can find it. She said, all right, well, I'll go on to the house and put the kettle on. I thought, oh, that's charming, that is. You'll be sitting there, have a nice cup of tea and enjoying yourself. Well, so I'm going back into the deep, darkest wood. Actually, the sun was shining. It wasn't deep and it wasn't dark, so it was all right. So I went back and I trotted. And do you know, I had to go all the way back to the pond. And then eventually, I found it. I did find it. But I kept thinking, oh, my God. like that. I was thinking it's Friday. Even if I don't find it, Julia and I are off to Glastonbury on Monday. There is no time to get another one purchased and bought and back to me in time so that we can go and do the recordings. And I was just panicking, you know, the beads of sweat, ladies and gentlemen, the beads of sweat were just dribbling down there. Now, there's a lovely stream in those woods, beautiful stream, lovely stream, and I was adding to it. I was like a waterfall of stress pouring down. The sweat was pouring off my back, and the curly hairs under my armpits were going, oh, this is too much, I'm drowning, I don't like it. It was rather grim. Anyway, managed to find the microphone, made it way back, and there was Michael and Emma. They said, oh, no, come in. And they'd laid out this lovely spread. They were lovely people. They laid out this lovely spread and said, oh, you must have something to eat. Have some tea and all of this, and cheese and bread and salad, and we'd had biscuits earlier and lovely coffee. It was terrific. It was lovely. And then, ladies and gentlemen, she gave me this terrific book all about Binstead and beyond. Yeah, and it's printed, it's got words in it and pictures. I haven't had a chance to really look at it, but it's kind of the history of this lovely rural village, Binstead. The sad part of the whole thing is it's threatened by the A27 being diverted from Arundel and cutting through this wonderful ancient forest where at the moment there's something, I can't remember how many she said, something like 500 or 600 toads, certain type of toads, who are mating at the moment. And they go down, the villagers go down to where this pond is in the evening, and the females carry the male toad on her back, and is trying to find their way to the pond. And some of them get, you know, they're doing sort of naughty things, you see, and so they get a little bit confused in the passion, and so they get lost. And so many of the villagers will come down and go, here, come with me, mate, and they'll take them and help them on their way to the pond, which is really lovely. I think there was something like 14 different species of bats in these woods. And there's only, she did tell me there was something like 26 species in Britain, different types of species, or, you know, whatever you call them, and there's 14 of them at these woods. So these woods are incredibly important. So I'm going to show you some pictures now, ladies and gentlemen. Just before we do, just checking, vobing is much better than voguing. Yeah, thanks very much for that, says Jennifer. Mark Selwood says, yeah, anyone come down to Cornwall, I'll put you all up. Well, that would be nice. I'd like to come down. Maggie Walter says, I dropped my phone once on a very hilly mountain walk. Robbie and I hurriedly backtracked to find it in the rain and uphill. We were rather pooped by the end of it. Luckily, we found it. Note to self, secure your valuables. Well, I can tell you, I learnt my lesson greatly on that experience. So let me see if I can find some lovely trees, some pictures. So first of all, here the first picture is this is the lovely Emma Tristram, who lives in Binstead, and she's got that sun hat on, and it looks like a miming T-shirt, isn't it? You see the white-faced mimes go around in stripy T-shirts, but she didn't do any mimes, so that was all right. And she was telling me all sorts of very interesting things, which I was trying to remember so that I could tell you, of course, because obviously it's all very important. Anyway, so that was it. And we went into the woods down this lover's lane, this beautiful lover's lane, and there we came across example after example, ladies and gentlemen, of these terrific trees. Now look at that tree. What you can see there, I just want you to look at this in a bit more detail. This is a tree that has fallen, okay? It has fallen, and it is still alive. And what has happened from the trunk of the tree, that green is just the little fur coating of mosses and things. But what's happened is the tree has sprouted tiny little branches which over time have turned into trunks in their own right, and it's absolutely staggering. And there are many like that. I can't remember if so here's some primroses. I got told off the other day when I was filming at the West Humble Church with Surrey with Mark English, and there was some primroses, and they said, Richard, you never took a picture of the primroses. there was a carpet of green and these funny little yellow flowers. I don't know what they are. They're not. Emma did tell me, and I tried to remember it. It began with a C or something. They look like buttercups. They're not buttercups, but there's something like that. So here's another of these amazing trees you see in this wood. Now this wood has just been. It's kind of managed, but it's not coppiced. The trees are allowed to grow. They fall down like this, and you can see this tree. And from its rotten body, it's sprouted a branch. Now, that's not because it was there to begin with, ladies and gentlemen, which a lot of people think is the case. Just trying to get another picture here. Here's a tree in a bit of a swampy sort of situation, which is a little bit different. Another one. It's just struggling here now. Struggling because I'm... Yeah, it's done that one. Yeah. Oh, did I put that one in twice, which is a bit weird. So here we go. Here's this tree. Again, it's fallen down, and from the remains, another trunk has come up. Has come upright. This is a classic thing. And then this is the Madonna Pond. Here, I mean, it's not a huge one, but there were a number of these ponds, and this is where all the toads were going in. So that's all quite nice and quite fun, isn't it? So what I shall show you now, ladies and gentlemen, is the little bit of video where we start our walk. And I was interested because Emma was pointing to a number of these trees around Binstead Park, which is this sort of pocket park. So it's not a real park. It was sort of a manufactured park around 1800, something like that, based on the old estates that used to have deer parks, proper deer parks and that sort of thing. But there was this beautiful oak, another oak tree, about 350 years old, something like that. Beautiful girth on it, and it went up. But it was a pollard, you see. Now, I know Julia has been interested and a bit upset whenever I mention, oh, there's a tree that's been pollarded, or there's some pollard trees over there. This is so I asked Emma. Let's get Emma to explain it, because I asked Emma to explain then what a pollard tree is and why they would do it. So let's get Emma's response to that. We're just passing a remarkable ancient tree. Well, yes, pretty old tree, pretty old. An oak tree here with quite a wide girth, isn't it? And you were telling me before we started filming that it's most likely a pollard tree. And what was the reason that you would pollard a tree like this in its position?
This may go back to before the creation of Binstead Park. It's thought to have been made in about 1800, quite late in the creation of pocket parks, as they're known. And so this tree may date back to before that,
right?
If it's 300 years old, which it might be. And the reason to pollard a tree was to stop the animals eating the new growth. So if you find pollards like this, where it's been cut at head height, and the tree has grown out several trunks from that point, yes, it means somewhere not in a woodland, but where there are animals, such as a common or a deer park.
Yes, yeah. Well, it is a magnificent one that's yet to spring into leaf, but it won't be long.
No,
it won't be long.
Exactly.
So there we are. So as you can see, there's a specific reason exactly for that. And sometimes trees are also pollarded. I don't know whether pollarded is an actual word or a pollard, because they're markers. They're used as markers in the landscape, or boundary markers, so that a certain tree grows in that strange shape because they're cut at the top, and then many trunks come out, which is a bit like what's happened with those other trees that I was showing you, when the branches come out and then they thicken up over time and they're trimmed or whatever, and they look very strange. And then they become boundary markers. So they might mark the corner. There might be a tree that's pollarded to mark the corner. And very often, of course, you get trees pollarded. I don't know whether that you can have the past participle. I can't even say it. Past participle. No, past tense of the word pollard. I don't know if there is a pollarded, but anyway, you often see I'm going to use it, so who cares? Pollarded trees down avenues, because the foliage, the canopy, which is really for the tree, but it's also sort of going in people's gardens, and it's preventing other things from growing. Anyway, it's all very interesting, and it's a shame Julia didn't go, because those woods, I mean, they were just amazing. We didn't see any of the bats or any of the toads, but there are ghosts down in those woods as well. There are ghost stories and legends, and nearby we're going to go back to see the Knucker Hole. Now, the Knucker Hole is one of these supposedly bottomless pits. Well, they're not bottomless by any means, because actually, from what I read at some point, I can't remember now if it was in the 70s or 80s, they actually drained this thing. It was the legend of the Knucker Hole is that there was a dragon deep beneath it, and it was a bottomless well, sort of like a little pond, like a dew pond in a way, but a bit bigger than a dew pond, and it was a pit that just went down forever into the core of the earth. But actually, what they did is they drained it for, I don't know what they did with the water. That they took all the water out, and they found that actually it wasn't as deep as everybody said. It had, I don't know, 45 feet or something. But they were very upset. A lot of people were upset because there was no dragon. There was no dragon in it. But then rumours went round that the dragon had taken the day off and had gone somewhere else, because it had sensed that everyone was coming to take the water away. And he didn't mind. He flapped about, flew around the countryside a little bit, and then when everyone wasn't looking, because apparently also it filled up with water pretty damn quickly once the pump was turned off. So I don't know the whole truth of that, but that's what I was told. So it looks like Julia's going to Bora Bora. She could come and see me. I can Bora Bora. Jane Ainsley says, my eye has missed the right spelling of Binstead. Yes, in my original video, I confess I did misspell Binstead. I put an A in it. There is no A in this one. Martin Snow says Pollard Ed. So I assume you're saying that is you can have the past participle. I can't say it. How do you say it? Past participle. Past participle. I can't remember. Linda Kane is saying a sinkhole. Please don't believe half of what you say. It was a joke. Oh, okay. I've never heard of a knucker hole, says Maggie Walters. Now, I don't know if a knucker holes, there's one at Leominster, near, is it Leominster or Lyminster, near Littlehampton, and I believe there's one at Sompting, isn't there? There's one at Sompting. I can't remember. Anyway, so that was that. So that will be coming out fairly soon. Let's go into the gallery, ladies and gentlemen, and see what all you lovely people have been busy doing. So we're going to start the gallery here with this lovely landscape photograph. Now, if it's yours, then you'll know exactly what this is. Cynthia Walder has been going on the zigzag paths around Selborne and then up on Nor Hill, ladies and gentlemen. Up on Nor Hill. Now, you may not really know where that is, but I believe that's in Hampshire somewhere. And it's part of the Hampshire and Isle of Wight Wildlife Trust. Nor Hill was once the site of medieval chalk workings, but it's now carpeted by flowering plants growing on the chalk. The ridges, the banks and the hollows provide a variety of niches or niches that allow many different species to thrive. There are over there's a large number of butterflies, breeding butterflies, apparently over 35 species, and over a dozen species of orchid can be found up there. So I was going to say, actually, you know, when you post your pictures, by the way, and you do post your pictures, and you say things like, oh, well, I've been to somewhere and here's some pictures, if you could just give a bit more information, just so that we can sort of put it on the map and know where it is, that would be really good. Or a little bit of information, because sometimes it's not quite, you know, just the name of it. I mean, I know we can all go and look up on Wikipedia if we can bother, but it'd be lovely if there was a little bit more description. I'm also guilty of that, so I will try and do the same. So what have we got here? Now, this is a seaside thing. I'm not surprised because it's very nice by the sea. And Claire Leach has been to Saltdean. I've never been to Saltdean. I'd like to go to Saltdean and see where the salt is. But you can see there's another cliff. We have some beautiful cliffs. It's right on the edge there, but we have some beautiful cliffs along the south coast. Unfortunately, none in Worthing, which is a bit of a shame, but... hey-ho, there you go, riding on a donkey. Now, Matthew Holdsworth, he's really putting up the trump card, if I can say Trump. He's putting up the trump card for Reigate, which I think... Is Reigate in Surrey? Is it in Sussex? I think it's in Surrey, isn't it, Reigate? Don't think it's in Sussex. But... He's got some lovely pictures in there. Look at that lovely tower. I'd like to know more about that lovely tower. Little walkthrough. Whether it is whether there's a railway on the top of it. It looks like there should be a railway running on the top and a walkway underneath. But I'm just guessing on that. I don't know for sure. And here, ladies and gentlemen, you may recognise this place, of course, because lovely Julia and I have been there fairly recently. But Joy Carter has just been there. She stumbled across it, and it is, of course, the Bedham Church, or the Bedham Mission, as it's often known, the school. We posted some pictures there, and somebody else, I think it was Graham, was it? Somebody posted the pictures from the book that he's got, which shows it when it was fully formed and all the staff members and some of the children that were there. And that's near Fittleworth, if you want to go and check it out. It's very nice. Talking of Graham Whittington, he has been whizzing around near Petworth, but not Petworth. This is Byworth. Lovely, tiny little place, Byworth, with some charming cottages, and there's even a red telephone box as well. And, of course, he's out there with his camera getting some amazing pictures all the time. So thanks very much for getting that. This was intriguing. I saw this. These are all photos in the group, I should say, just taken pretty much at random. This is in the group as well. This is Glenn Johnson, and he wanted some information about this place, and somebody else came along and said, well, I know exactly. Well, I think it was Paul Hine who recognised it. He said, yeah, that's Warblington Manor. Warblington Manor, which is this sort of last remaining edifice from what looked like an old medieval manor house, and as Nigel Slater suggested, that it was a very similar age to the one at Cowdray. And there's a close-up view. That's actually from Wikipedia. That's a closer-up view of it. You can see the brickwork and the stonework as well, and the turret and all the rest of it, which is very nice. And what found quite interesting there, apparently, there's a house, a lovely cottage with a swimming pool on Rightmove. I forget who it was who posted it and suggested that I should go and have a look at it because it was right up my alley. And it would be right up my alley because this could be Vobes Tower. And then I sort of made a joke, yeah, if it was Vobes Tower, then the lovely Julia could be Rapunzel. Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your purple hair, as it used to say. And then the knight could come climbing up there and kill the... Was the Rapunzel... Was that the one with the... who was the repellent... What was it? Rumpelstiltskin. I would obviously naturally be Rumpelstiltskin and on the spinning machine, making her work hard. And then I suppose the lovely Charles would be the knight in shining armour who would say, Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your purple hair. And he would climb up there, and then there's, me as the... I've just forgotten his name. Ridley, not Ridley Scott. Rumpelstiltskin. I got it. I did get it. Thank you. Needed no help from you. And stick the I can't remember what happened. Rumpelstiltskin, didn't he get in a bit of a temper and he stamped his foot and he fell through the floor into the jaws of piranha fish, if I remember rightly, that was swimming underneath, and then Dr. Evil is going... Right, like something like that. I can't remember. Anyway, the myth of Rumpelstiltskin and his Chiltern Chiltern, and his Stilton cheese is legendary in some parts. Anyway, on Rightmove, there's this cottage next to it, and if you've got spare 2.5 million, I think it's 2,600,000 actually, but you know they may knock off 100,000 if you've got the cash. You could go and buy it. So I thought, well, you know, I may have to go and have a quick look and see if it's the sort of thing that I could purchase, because I think that would be quite nice, and then we could do the show. Julia and I could do the show from the top of the tower. We wouldn't need to do it on the internet. We wouldn't need the internet at all. We could just use megaphones. We could just lean over and go, "Hello, welcome to Bald Explorer Live." And you know, all the minions and stuff would come up with their little yellow jackets and their big one eyes and things, and go and you know, and have however the minions work. And yes, with our megaphones, it would be very good. So anyway, that was just a thought. So there we are. That's that one. But there's more. There is more. Here is Simon Brown has been out and about. Simon Brown has been to the Hexton Hills, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, he's been to the Hexton Hills. And you may ask yourself, where are the Hexton Hills? And the question is, I don't know. Somewhere in the Chiltern Valley, I think, if I remember rightly. So that would be that's interesting. Sorry, I had some other information about that Warblington Castle, but I didn't get round to it. I don't know why. If we go further north, we get into Robert Crosser country, Rockcliffe, off the River Eden. And his pictures are lovely. There's this beautiful looking place. There's lots of pictures there in the group. And also a lot of those mysterious standing stones. They really enthrall me. I like to go and see some of those carved standing stones from up north. So, yeah, looking forward to doing that. Richard Suggett has been out in the New Forest, and he's been to the Rufus Stone, the evil King William II. Here stood the oak tree on which an arrow shot by Sir Walter Tyrrell. I don't know if he's related to the crisp manufacturer. He tried to shoot a stag, apparently. It glanced and struck King William II, who is also known as Rufus, in the heart, and he died instantly, falling to the ground, and it was marked. But King Rufus was a bit of an horrible man, and it is rumoured, of course, that this was a deliberate murder, that Sir Walter Tyrrell actually was not commissioned as such, but made it look like an accident and got rid of the king. And why would you not want to do that if he's horrific? Finally, ladies and gentlemen, in our little trip down the gallery, we've got Gary Vaux, who has this view out of his office. I don't know whether this is his normal office or whatever. He just says it's his office. This is an unusual tree, he says, but it's not really an unusual tree. I don't know what it is, looking at it, because my tree identification isn't that good. But it's either a coppiced tree, but it doesn't actually look like a stool to me. It looks like suckers. And that's where trees will actually, you have one tree and then the root will go down a bit and then pop up again. Now, I forget what trees do that. I think elms, if I remember rightly, have suckers. I'm not quite sure. But there are trees that have these suckers. So you kind of get what looks like a coppice stool, and I can't really see it in great detail. It might be a coppice stool. But because it's out in the open and there's no other trees there whatsoever, it seems a bit of a strange thing to have done. Whereas you can have a tree, as I say before, and these suckers, they're the sort of, they're almost like they're a branch that come off, but they go down and under and up. And often you get this sort of almost flowering effect. But somebody else will probably put me right, because often I am wrong. Anyway, so there we go. That's what that is. It's a lovely tree. I must take the picture off, otherwise you'll have a go at me. So there we are, ladies and gentlemen. That's our little selection. If you want to post some pictures and you've got pictures of places you go, they are very welcome. It's great to see them. We go in and sometimes we comment, sometimes we don't comment. Can't comment on everyone because sometimes we can't think of a witty thing to say, to be honest with you, or we haven't got time. But we try to like them, and everybody's very welcoming. So we want to try and get 600 members to the group. So If you're not a member of the group, get yourself over there and post some pictures. It doesn't have to be pictures, by the way. I also want to encourage other things. If I would like to do a week of poetry. I'm not very good at poems. I never quite understand poetry, but people do like poems. So if you can find, whilst actually this would be good for next week, whilst the lovely Julia and I happen to be away, I don't know if you've noticed but or heard about it, but we're going to Glastonbury. Not the music festival, ladies and gentlemen. No, not the music festival. None of that nonsense. We can turn the radio on if we want a bit of music. We're going to look at the old town. We're going to look at the old town. We're going to go up to the Tor. We're going to find... Julia's very keen to understand more about paganism and that sort of thing and get a bit more sort of tree-huggy. We're going to see Gog and Magog. There's the ancient thorn, which we're going to investigate. There's the Sacred Heart well, which we're going to go. Then there's the cathedral or the ancient church. There's lots of stuff. And the High Street, we'll try and find a few druids that we'll take the mickey out. We'll interview. So that's what we're doing. So while we're away, of course, we want everybody to be continuing on. We're going to be a bit busy. So I thought, why not get people to do some poems? Either they can be your own poems or they can be somebody else's poems, as long as they're, out of copyright or whatever. Old poems about places that you like or words that really affect you, about heritage. It could be about a building, could be about a tree, could be about something that's happened at one of those places, maybe like a love poem of a secret rendezvous, or it may be a mysterious poem or something like that. A little bit of poetry, just to raise the standards a bit, because obviously some people are very good at photography and they're doing very good things, and some people not so. And I thought, well, let's open it up to other types of things. So what do you think about that? Be interested to know. Do let me know. Bit of poetry will be good. Tales of Albion, Spirit, and the Tales movie page. Get Julia to have a look at this. Thanks, Alan Piddington, for that. Chalice, well gone. I can't remember what I said now. Don't forget the longest abbey church in the land, Glastonbury Abbey. We're going to go to Glastonbury Abbey, of course, because that's why we're in Glastonbury. Dean Rhodes is having a day off. I know some rude poems. Thanks, Paul. Yes, just as I was trying to raise the artistic merit, you've just successfully lowered it and put it straight back into the gutter again. Although you haven't actually done that because you haven't posted them. But please don't post limericks. There was an old man from Bombay who slid down the stairs on a tray. He bumped into the Queen and said, "Sorry, old bean, but you should have got out of the way." I don't want you to post it limericks. That's not quite the same thing. Oh, Richard, how we love thee walks and your talks. Thank you, Mark. Vobes and the lovely went to see what they could see. There we go. I couldn't possibly post the type of poems that I know, says Kevin. Okay, so it looks like everybody seems to be knowing some dodgy old poems. Hey-ho. Now, we're running out of time, ladies and gentlemen. So I just want to remind you a couple of extra things that are coming up. So let's get a bit of music in the background for this. So, Saturday, not this Saturday, not tomorrow, but the 28th, when we come back from Glastonbury, there is the meet-up. Just to remind you, we will remind you nearer the time, but it's coming close on the 28th of April, ladies and gentlemen. The first, hopefully, of many of these meet-ups where you and everybody can come together and meet each other face-to-face, put faces to names, which is going to be great, at Bramber in West Sussex. So Bramber, you've got Bramber Castle, and then in the little village of Bramber, I believe it's called the Castle Inn. It's the first proper pub. It's not actually the first pub, depending on which direction you come from, of course. But there's one pub called the Tollgate. It's not that one. It's the one called the Castle something or other, Castle Tavern or the Castle Inn or the Castle thing, whatever it's called. Anyway, so we're going to meet in there at midday, ladies and gentlemen, midday. So remember that. And then after lunch, and don't forget, you don't have to have a lunch if you haven't got any money or anything like that, and you just want to bring your own sandwiches, that's fine. Smuggle them in somehow. There's enough of us going to be probably buying some lunch and a drink or whatever it is anyway. So we'll probably spend about an hour or so there, and then we're going to toddle up to the castle and just take a lovely gentle stroll. Hopefully the sun will be shining. And we're just going to it just gives us something to do. We don't have to do anything terribly energetic. It's just a nice way for all of us to have a little chinwag. And I really want from the meetup, not only a chance to meet everyone and do selfies and all that kind of stuff, but if you've got specific ideas or suggestions for the show or improvements or things to make it better, then please, take that opportunity to grab hold of me and tell me certain things, nice. If you just want to punch me in the face, then take this opportunity not to bother to turn up. That would be the best one for that. But if you've got something constructive to say or whatever, or just, take me aside and we can have a chat, things that you'd like to see, things that you would like done, it would be great. But the meetup is really just a social, it's just a bit of fun, and hopefully we're going to all enjoy ourselves, which would be good. So that's that. The other thing, before we go, last Sunday, I meant to do another video tip. That's not going down to the amenities tip and throwing all my video equipment away because my walks and stuff are rubbish. No, it's not that. No, it's a little hints and tips thing for your Vobing reporting. So when you're making your little videos and you want a little bit of help and advice, I thought I'd just quickly throw one at you today. So I know people love gadgets, they like to buy things and what have you. What I would advise, if you're making your videos on a phone, as a lot of people are making their videos, the phones are great. The camera's got, wonderful cameras on it, and we've learnt now that we can hold the camera still and we can take pictures and what have you. Okay? But the most important thing is actually not the picture, ladies and gentlemen. The picture is secondary. In video, the picture is secondary. This is a very important tip. I cannot stress this enough. Forget the HD, the Super 4K, or whatever, the 8K. Forget all of that. Picture quality is not king when it comes to video. And you'll think, I don't understand. But it's video, it's pictures, it's true. But if you don't have good sound, your pictures look rubbish. No matter what quality it is, because people will not sit through videos if the quality of the sound is rubbish. So if you want to narrate or interview people or talk, I advise you to get something like this. This is a little tiny plug-in microphone, okay? And on your phone, you need to check that your phone will accept them, of course. And I can't tell you that because my phone's an old phone. It plugs in to your phone. And there's lots of different types of them. This one I've had for donkey's years. I don't even know if it works with this phone, to be honest with you. I did try. I couldn't get it to work. I don't think this phone actually accepts microphone things. So you'd have to check that out with your own phone, of course. But it's the essence of what I'm saying is the thing to think about. If you can record your audio, not with the phone's internal microphone, because that'll grab the wind and it won't be very effective and it'll just sound crap. Put in a microphone. If you're outside and it's windy, you need to gag the microphones with a sometimes they're called dead cats, or they're kind of, it's a little bit of fluffy that stops the wind hitting the sensitive microphone. So you stop all that noise. And then when you're doing your recording, the sound quality will be better. But if you are recording somebody over there who's talking, you may need to get another microphone and another recording setup. And the reason is, when you record somebody, even if you've got a microphone on here and they're over there, they sound distant, and yet they will look in close up. If you've zoomed in and you've got them nicely framed and it all looks lovely, if they sound a million miles away, as is what happens, it just looks, it jars, and it doesn't look right. And you need to get the microphone at least 8 inches to a foot away from them, so you get quality sound. I will talk more about sound and all that, but the little tip today is get yourself a microphone. They're not too expensive, that plugs into the phone, especially if you're going, I'm standing here at the foot of Mount Everest and I'm going to climb up all on my own. I'm going to go up there. So you've got a microphone that you can point at yourself at the same sort of distance and you'll get beautiful sound. And you won't get any, you know, make sure you... Anyway, that's. I'll do these a bit more intently, but that's the thing. I just see. How much is a mic mate? I don't know how much a mic mate is, mate. Every mic differs. I mean, they may be something like, you know, 30 quid for a little microphone. You just have to go online and look it up, really. I've ordered an external mic, hoping it works on my phone. What about the sound on an action camera? Well, the sound on an action camera, like a GoPro, is usually pretty crap because, think of it this way, where is the microphone? The microphone tends to be a tiny little hole, one tiny little hole. Well, it's all right if you're here and you're talking into it. Hello, I'm Richard Vobes and I'm out on another walk, which is fine. But if you start getting like here, they give you the sound because it can help sell the camera. But sound is a whole different thing, and ideally you want a separate sound system. But if you can have a thing with a jack on it, plug it in, a little microphone, might cost you 30, 40 quid, something like that, get a decent microphone, but it will make your video... I cannot emphasise this enough. It will make the videos so much better. So much better. If Nigel Sadler's there, he will 100% agree with me on that. Maggie, there's a lot of external mics designed for this. I mean, you just have to look around. If a phone has headphones and mic, you can get an external mic for it. There we are. Richard Soget. GoPro, big flaw is the poor audio. Exactly true. I use an app called Boss Jock to record audio with a decent Lavalier microphone. Mark says, I think mine is a 4-pole jack. Maggie says, I'm trying to grasp how to use the camera and gimbal. It comes. You just need to keep fiddling and farting. I don't do videos, says Dean Rhodes. Then this doesn't apply, clearly. Maybe I'd give it a go. Well, give it a go. That would be a good suggestion. Graham Whittington says you could use a voice recorder and add it in editing. And that's another thing. You could have another separate... This is a glasses case, and it doesn't record sound. But if we pretend that it's a video, we pretend that it's one of these little Zooms or something, these little recorders, you could, of course, do that. Far easier is to not worry about taking the sound, video whatever you want, bring it into the edit suite, put a bit of music over the top, and then lower the music and just do a voiceover. You can then prepare a script, very simple script, and once you've prepared the script, you can read it. You don't forget the facts and all the rest of it. I don't do that very often. I mean, I used to do it all the time because it was an easier way of keeping the facts, but I'm churning these out. I don't have time. I'm churning mine out all the time, and after a while you have your own style of presentation. It all comes with practice. Anyway, we're running out of time now, ladies and gentlemen. It's 9 o'clock and I ought to go. Done an hour, that's plenty. So, but we'll do more on videos. We'll do more on videos and how to improve things in questions and answers session. Probably in early May. In early May, when I'm back from all the various things, we'll set a particular day, and we'll go through all. You know, you ask me those questions, and we'll set up a show for that. So there we are, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you've enjoyed the show. I hope it's been good. The only thing I've got left to say is, when you hear this music, you know it's time that the Vobie has got to go be, and it's Friday. So no shows at the weekend, ladies and gentlemen. No shows now till Monday. Hopefully, coming from Glastonbury. It's come round, hasn't it? It's come round, and thank you. Can I just say thank you to your lovely patronage, the wonderful donations, particularly those people who helped us raise the money to get to Glastonbury. We needed to raise about 250 quid to pay for the petrol and the accommodation. Actually, you were so kind I actually spent a bit of my own money to have us to do an extra day, so that we could really do it well, because I wanted to do more of these mini adventures, as we called them, these little going away and recording lots and having a special theme. So this is the first of those. Fingers crossed the weather is good, fingers crossed that we do the job and we come back with lots of content and that you're pleased with the results. Have a great weekend. It's been lovely to do the show. It's lovely to prat about. It's lovely to be silly, and it's lovely to be serious. And thank you very much. It's been wonderful. Looking to team up with the lovely Julia in Glastonbury and bring you some of that content next week. On the video side, the walk side, editing up, we've got some Portsmouth walks that Julia and I did. And we've also got some walks with the lovely Philip Naylor coming as well. So look out for those coming up next week. We'll keep you posted in the group. Keep checking out the group, because that's where all the info will be. But until then, I must go. Thank you so much. It's been lovely to see you. Don't forget, you can support the Vobes if you haven't. If you're one of those people who watch this and you just think, well, you know, price of a cup of coffee every month, do check out the Bald Explorer at baldexplorer.com. And you can support the Vobes, which would be very nice, you know, or make a little donation. baldexplorer.com. Check out the support page. That would be great. Gets us to Glastonbury. There's the Glastonbury thing. But at the moment, I've got to go. So thank you and goodbye. Goodbye.